Hey folks, Brian, we like to play Elderath last night. Did I just shut that off? No, didn't. Okay. So, I, well, actually, I got a new position at work where I write business proposals. And I have been working on one this past week, while other guys on the business development team have been working these other programs. And we're supposed to do a handoff to the next team review, um, essentially close the business on Friday. But with what I had and what I know and what I think we need to do, we were nowhere near that. So we all worked on it together on Friday, and then we actually came in on Saturday, um, and worked on it. We didn't get done until 7:30, and our game normally starts for me at 5:30. So uh, they did start without me. So, and there's actually a live play. I once I got hooked in and got logged on and got everything up and running, I started the recording. So it's just a little bit, but we did end up running a whole hour late because we were in the middle of a fight, and I've been drinking Mountain Dew all day because of my meeting. So I was fine. Okay, where are we? All right. Um, okay, so the party went ahead and investigated the hallway to the east, goes to a little nesting area, and there were some kobolds there, and they kind of told them, stay here, don't cross this line, kind of thing, thinking they were like children or something. And then there was a hallway to the north that they went up, and there was a slight alcove to the west with a door, and then a hallway east. So they go down to the east, and they encountered four kobolds with crossbows and chain coats. They also had some silver. So, something unusual is going on here. This is about where I came in. One of the kobolds, the leader guy, had this funky spear. Um, and Runt doesn't know how to use a spear, but Himlar does. So he starts trying to demonstrate spear use to Runt. Um, then there's a short discussion about the use of poison because this spear blade had poison on it too. And it kind of comes out over above the table. It came out, this is an honor issue kind of thing. And I think Runt was just messing with Himyar. Okay, and as Runt is investigating the blade edge is shinier than the rest of the blade, and it looks sort of like his elvish dagger. This stuff is like better than steel. In this room, hidden amongst the furs and stuff, is a small coffer. The chieftain guy had a key, but it's too big to fit the coffer. Maybe the door. So we all go back west to the door, and sure enough, the key does open. And this is some kind of storage room. There are sacks, there are boxes, there are barrels, all kinds of food stuffs, right? And then there are piles of just stuff. Now, some of the crates are marked with the sign from Minot. Another connection. There's something weird going on with Minot because they got connections everywhere. So we backtrack to the entrance area, and we go west from where a bunch of the kobolds had come from when we first got attacked. And it goes right to a refuge. Well, there's a door, I guess. Open up, and there's a refuse room, right? Garbage. Um, Perhaps fecal matter and stuff. It's just nasty in there, right? But as we're looking around, there sees something gleaming and shiny at the far end moving. So he kind of goes into the room to investigate. He's poking the ground with his spear. Um, and then West, gets inside the room and orients so he can flash the walls back and forth and give some light. Before that though, Runt did toss the torch to Himlar. Made Himlar, but got into something wet and nasty, so it went out. Um, so Weston there flashing lights around, see what's going on. Then Himmler moves forward, and as he does so, the floor around him just erupts into swarms of rats, and they attack him. It's a revolting, horrifying scene. So we all had to make sanity rolls. Um, West went ahead and cast Stun Cloud on Hilnyar, figuring he could take a few points of damage, and any damage to the rats would, excuse me, my goodness, would, kill those rats. It would decrease the rat swarm strength overall, kind of thing, and should be fairly effective. At first, I was kind of thinking about doing a sleep, but we're not sure how sleep works on miniature little creatures. And on top of that, Raymond was suggesting to do the stun cloud. So we do the stun cloud, and sure enough, all the rats, well, that round it forms around him, little sparkly things all around. What's going on? Don't worry, it's called a stun cloud. It should take care of the rats around you. It may hurt a bit. And then the second round, at the end of the round, everybody in the circle takes damage. Um, yeah, not the most effective countermeasure, but it worked. All the rats scatter. Wes then casts breezes so he can manipulate the cloud and blow it around. And his first idea is to bring it towards him, to right in front of him, kill whatever's there, and then just start sweeping across the room going forward. Runt had been in the room just south of where Himliar was, but something happened, so Runt took off, and sure enough, where Runt was, the floor erupts into a mound of rats. Himmler finally gets to the far end, and he finds a bag of coin. I'm not sure how that would be gleaming, though. So there's still something else going on here. But as he's looking at the bag, he notices on his hand that there's this thing, and then there's something inside his hand, and it's in his arm. Um, and so he goes running out towards Raymond. Dig it out! Dig it out! Wes then follows to the entrance. Wes is the last one coming out, and he leaves a stun cloud right in front of the doorway to kill anything that may come towards him. Somehow Runt got involved. I don't remember this issue exactly, but Runt's using his dagger, and he starts to dig out the rock grubs, right? Starts digging it out, and then he uses his blade as a squeegee to try to squeeze any that are in his arm elsewhere to out the where he cut open a hole. Um, and as we're all kind of looking at this, yeah, we all figure he got all of them. And then Raymond heals Hilliar's arm. Okay. Okay, at this point, Raymond's down on magic points. Um, there's some like heal disease stuff that needs to happen, that kind of thing. So we decided we're going to go down to the stream and clean up, and then we're going to spend the night in the ogre cave. Well, we're going to rest in the ogre cave, spend that night in there as well. During the night, during a couple of watches, Himliar hears marching of feet that just seems to reside over time. Later on in the morning, I think it was in the morning, he heard the clash of arms, like people fighting, swords and shield kind of stuff. Okay, it's now day 5 of week 4 of Vayan, the 3rd month. I think I missed a couple of days of travel getting back up here. I needed to, is it worth checking? I don't know. Okay, so day 5. So we head back over to the north side of the cavern, or the Vale, and we go up to an upper entrance, which is where Wes thinks the goblins had come running down the mountain and then in through the entrance to attack us from the back came from. And so we go check that out. Thinking, just more kobolds, right? So we enter in, and it tees. So Wes gets up there, flashes left, and then flashes right. As he's doing that, spears come flying out from the east in the darkness. And as flash over there, sure enough, it is not kobolds, they're goblins. There's just four of them, remember right? And so Wes is going to cast Confusion on number four, which is back in the corner, trying to keep him out of the combat. But he rolls a triple ot, a 100 fumble, and we have recently got the PDF version of Basic Roleplay, and apparently they've got excuse me, a spell fumble chart in there, or he's got a fumble chart from somewhere else. So he has me roll on that, and so Wes is stunned for 4 rounds. He can't do anything. And then melee with the other goblins ensues. Um, just before all that is done, four more goblins come up from the west. Um, and Wes is done with his stun at the same round that he gets engaged by two goblins, and the other goblins go towards the other guys. So Wes casts Hold Kind on the first one, number 6, and he's going to fight off number 8, the second one. And it's another one of these kind of system uh, systems not meshing sort of thing. So in Hold Kind, the recipient is held to 25% of his activity during that melee round. And we're trying to figure, okay, what does that really mean? I threw out an option that all of his um, you know physical skills get reduced to 25% of what they are. Um, but the GM goes with he's moving at 1/4 speed, so every 4 rounds he gets to attacks on the fourth round, and that his defense is as if he were doing it for the fourth time, so it's a minus 80 for all of his parries and stuff. So, um, Wes keeps the number 6 held, and is fighting off with number 8. Skewers him a couple times in the leg, and then once in the chest. The goblin actually did hit. Oh, he was successful in his attack 3 times, but Wes parried twice, and he couldn't get through the parry. But so Wes got hit in, I believe it was the leg. It ended up being 2 points of full damage, so it been 7 total. And yeah, during these attacks, Wes rolled a 99, but his skill level was up high enough that wasn't a fumble. Um, long combat. These guys are over here fighting, killing off goblins, getting hurt, and getting healed. Um, and finally, number 8 goes down. So Wes then switches to. Wes had to miss a couple of attacks in order to maintain his concentration. Because at first I thought you had to roll concentration every time you try to do something else. And so when he did his first parry, is that a parry? Yeah. So when he went to do his first parry, or was his first attack? No, it had to be a parry because that was the parry I was concerned about. He rolled for his concentration and then rolled for his parry. But then it came out through discussion that you only need to roll for concentration if you're attacking. Personally, I think anytime you're trying to do something other than maintain your spell, you need to roll a concentration roll. But that's just me. Maybe I'm mean. But anyway, as combat goes on, 8 goes down, so now he's maintaining the concentration on 4, or number 6, which did attack but missed. And then he's attacking 4. At that point, all the combat to the west is pretty much done, and Raymond comes around to take on the goblin from the rear. Also, during the entire combat, there's a couple times where Wes was able to make a scan roll and saw something flash out, and something flashed by maybe. So the pseudo dragon is out fighting. Not sure what she's doing. He had me roll a number of times for things, so I know she missed a couple times. Probably even fumbled because I rolled horribly that night. I even switched dice, and the horrible rolls kept up with me. They transferred over. It was a mess. It was just ugly at times. But Runt, on the other hand, who's untrained in spears, who's got like 23%, is rolling 15s and 20s. He even rolled like a 2 and got a special, and all kinds of stuff going on. Um, Himmelar did get impaled with a spear in his leg, and so there's some conversation about the rules and mechanics and discussion about that. He ended up taking damage, and he kept on fighting, even though we all knew he would take damage from the spear in his leg, and he was only had one hit point left. So he attacks. I don't remember if he hit or missed or not, but he then took damage from the spear being in his leg and doing stuff, and he goes to -1 and he goes down. And that's back before when Raymond was doing all this healing stuff and things like that. Just some other aspects of the combat I remember, and discussion of mechanics, that kind of thing. I think that's it. We just ended right there because at that point we were pushing 1 o'clock in the morning for us here on the East Coast, and I know some folks were concerned about that. Although I was still fine. Happy gaming.